Hello, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, my lovely audience. Welcome to the East West Show. Jack Chow is my name. East West is the show. G&E is the studio. For quite some time, at least for 5, 6, or even 7 years, we pay attention to California, how California is dealing with their own business owners, which are the sources of money and the only sources of money. Unfortunately, we're not seeing something or quite positive signs. What we are seeing instead are signs they are strangling and even tighten the strangle to business owners. For several times, I have done quite shows, formerly with my friend Marianne Maloney. Oh, by the way, if she is watching, Marianne, thank you very much. You're quite a hero to me. And it is your fight that started, that got myself in, got everybody else, of course, along with my audience. I have lots of fans following me. They are all in the package. Now, today joining me, another talk about California laws that strangle business owners are my good friend, Tom Mansell, business owner, founder, and a CEO for a timely industry, doing namely doors, frame doors, metal doors. And by the way, our studio using his doors.
Thank you, Jack.
Right? So you're the doorman. Not doorkeeper, but doorman. Doorman. So to Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Next to Tom is my new friend, Vincent Passanisi. Vincent is in the food industry. Food. We Chinese have a proverb, nothing goes greater than food to humankind, because food, you always eat before you do anything, right? So, and he is a owner of several food restaurant, nice Italian restaurant, and also Italian food chain, and the manufacturers of so on and so forth. I'll leave him the whole story of introduction about himself and his business. And you too, even though you're here for several times, my audience might still want to know about you, poor Tom, your story, right? Very good. So to Vincent, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Very good. I'm so glad that we have opportunity to touch your story, because those could be vivid examples about how business are being strangled, right? How about you, Vincent? I started with you, about you yourself. Give me a little introduction about yourself. Don't look so sad.
Okay.
Yeah, look happy. Well, you got Jack here. Jack will try, do everything.
Thanks, Jack.
To bring justice back. Okay, very good. You can tell me anything about any information, your saving account, your social security, whatever, your girlfriend's name and how many you have, including that. So you can tell me anything, all right? So go ahead.
Well, I'll start by telling a little bit about our company. Our company was started in 1947 by my grandfather, who came to the United States from Sicily. He immigrated in the 20s, I believe, and moved to New York. And he was kind of an entrepreneur. He started different types of businesses and started a market in Buffalo, started a family, and eventually he moved out here to Southern California because he loved the weather out here so much. It reminded him of
So
Sicily.
do I.
And he started a little market in Long Beach in 1947, and we've been there ever since. And we were an little Italian supermarket, and we serve food to go, lasagna, pizza, pasta, and we probably serve 500 or 600 people a day at our Long Beach location. And since then, I've also opened up a location in Seal Beach and another one in Irwindale. And that's one part of our business. We have a second part of our business we call Marisa Foods, and we're a federally inspected meat plant. We manufacture Italian sausage, meatballs, pepperoni for restaurants all over the country.
I see.
And we also have a brand called Excellent Tea, tamales and chili, and we make those products for all the supermarkets in Southern California.
All right.
And that's one of the oldest brands in Southern California. It was started in 1894.
Okay, next time EDI is doing a party, I'll probably book my my sausages or pepperonis with you, or pizza even, right?
We'd love to help you out.
Did you bring us any free samples?
I did.
We have lots of contracted catering companies, and probably we can start right away.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, very good, very good.
Thank
okay.
you.
You have a family?
I do. I have
And how big?
3 kids, a wife. We've been married for 25 years.
Wow, wow, wow. I heard the Italians tend to have a big families, and they're family lovers.
Well, my dad had 5 sisters and himself, so his family is pretty big.
Very good, very good. All right, thank you. And let's. I started with you with the happy part, and I'll come back for your sad stories.
Okay.
All right, how about that?
Very good.
Right, so that you will have a break. Right. Tom, well, how about you? And some of my audience might not even know you, so why you do the same thing? Why don't you do the same thing like Vincent did?
Sure. My name's Tom Manzo, and I'm the president of Timely Industries. Timely manufactures pre-finished steel door frames. They've been in business since 1971. We employ almost 200 people, and average employee length of employment's 24 years now. And we have some employees that have been there longer than 36 and a couple going on 37 years.
Oh, last time when you were here, you brought the guy who had been with the company for 36 years.
Correct. Yes, that's right.
All right. Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah,
all
the last time we were here, we brought 4 employees because we were in the middle of our lawsuit. And
I'll touch your story later, yeah, because that's too sad. And I want just to be happy, yeah. So, and with the more than 200 workers,
correct.
You're supporting, in other words, you're supporting one business only, more than 200 families.
Yeah. Oh, quite a few. And just as a side note, I mean, we have 52 immediate family members that work for Timely, 26 extended family members.
I see.
So we're like a big family. And when we need to go
family.
hire somebody, we just tell somebody, hey, we're looking for somebody, and somebody will come in and apply, and it could be a son, it could be a nephew, it could be a relative, a cousin. And that's how we've operated for many years.
It's not only a business. It sounds to me that you have created a business culture.
Correct.
Very good. How many employees do you have?
We have over 70.
Over 70, all right. So you together, you're talking about almost 300 employees. Each has a family.
Correct.
When California cries, our median families need lots of care, you guys taking care of almost 300 of them.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And I have a good reason to keep you breathing instead of killing you, because I don't want to kill those 300 families.
No.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So what happened to you, the sad part?
Well, a few years ago, we laid off a few employees. We were a little bit slow, and one of those employees came back and filed what's called a post-termination workers' comp claim. So he said that he'd been hurt something like 5 or 6 months before, and had never told anybody.
He's been hurt?
He said he'd been hurt on the job.
H-U-R-T.
Right.
Okay.
But evidently he never told anybody. It was a bogus claim, but the insurance company ended up having to settle with him for $70,000. This same employee, almost a year later, filed what's called a PAGA lawsuit against us. So it's the Private Attorney General's Act. I'm guessing you talked about it before on the show. And it's a wage and hour lawsuit, and claimed that we weren't paying our employees for their breaks, or we weren't giving them their lunches. They pretty much, any labor law that you can violate, they list in this letter. It's kind of like these attorneys are throwing darts at a bulletin board and hoping something will stick.
Okay. And how for this one, how much they are asking?
So it's initially there's not a dollar sum. They're just saying that we violated the wage and hour laws, and therefore we'll have to go to court. And so we had to send in information for this employee and all our employees, and it turned into a class action lawsuit against our company. And it looked like it was going to cost us probably in the range of $3 million to go to court and try to win this thing, if we could win this thing.
I see, I see. That's too bad. Let's get to the point, the very point though. At what day, while doing what was this employee hurt?
Well, he just said sometime in May he'd hurt his back, or he said he'd hurt his shoulder, so we got an attorney, and the attorney said that they were suing us because he'd hurt his shoulder, and as a result he couldn't sleep, and he also had sexual dysfunction that was apparently part of the problem, and he also had psychological problems because of it. So they were casting a wide net trying to.
Oh yeah, of course. And because of his sexual problem, the wife starts complaining, and the wife gets uncomfortable, and then the wife probably develops anxiety or so on and so forth, and sees a doctor, gets him a bill, and with the wife, the children, there's lack of care, and then that's another claim, right? And the school scores are dropping down. Because of that, the teacher got punished, and the teacher has a case. It could go on forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think so?
The whole workers' comp's another issue, but it's definitely a broken
Congratulations
system.
to you. You hit a jackpot. $3 million is a big jackpot. All right. Let's get to the point when we come back. All right. So what's your story, please?
Well, I have to say something on the workers' compensation, because we had the same issue. It was somebody out on a workers' comp claim, and then it turned into the PAGA lawsuit. Workers,
the same way.
Yeah, workers' compensation in California, especially Los Angeles, Inland Empire, and the Orange County have the highest rates in the nation. We pay the highest premiums in the nation. And one stat that really sticks with me is California makes up 12% of the working population. Workers' compensation, the entire premiums, we make up 30% of the total premiums for the United States. So something's wrong. If you only have 12% of the workers, but it equals 30% of the total workers' comp revenue.
Mathematically, doesn't work right.
It doesn't work out.
Doesn't work right. All right. My dear audience, today with my friend Tom Menso and also Vincent Passanisi, we're sharing their experiences of their business, doing business. That's the proud side of it. And also their sad side. They both are being sued. We haven't touched Tom's story yet. With Vincent's story, that's bad enough already. And we believe that we need money, but this is not a way to produce money. Money is not produced this way. And we want to take a little break. When we come back, we'll find out first with Tom's story, and then we'll put together, find the differences and the common factors of these stories to find out where we're going as a state. Stay with us, please. Hello, my dear friends, lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Californians. Welcome back to the discussion about California. It is about California. It is our own beautiful state we're so proud of. And yet, the discount of the proudness is obvious right there. With my friend Vincent Passanisi and Tom Menso, we are sharing their stories about doing business. While doing business, they are hit. They are gloriously wounded or sadly wounded, whichever. Right. Tom, what's your story?
Well, we've always had a flexible work schedule at Timely. So we allowed people to come in at 5 in the morning, 5:30, 6, 7. We have a lot of people that go to school. We have people that want get their kids off to school or be home when their kids are home. So we've always allowed flexibility. A lot of times people say, hey, I want to come in early because I want to go watch my kids play. I want to go do something, go see his soccer game, whatever. And we've always allowed that. So what Timely's, and I'll call it a criminal offense, what our criminal offense was, all of our employees took their lunch later than 5 hours. So the minute you go 5:01, that becomes a penalty.
A violation.
A violation, and it's a very expensive violation.
A violation of what?
Well, it's a labor law, and the California labor law book is 1,039 pages. They passed 122 new laws just in 2017 alone. Not even telling what's going to be coming in for 2018, which will be more. So what happens is if there's a disgruntled employee who says, hey, I should have been getting my lunch at the proper time, they can go to an attorney, and that particular attorney can say, hey, this becomes a class action lawsuit. It falls under the PAGA code, and that disgruntled employee becomes the private attorney representing all 200 timely employees, stating, hey, we're not happy with this lunch hour. When in fact, the person that wasn't happy was the one that was filing the workers' compensation claim, which was a bogus claim. And now they ruined it for everybody there, everybody. Because nobody is happy now with the
your story I heard quite a bit, especially last time when you brought 4 of your employees. They testified that number one, they are happy with the schedule. And they are not only happy with the schedule, they like the schedule. It is only by having that schedule they see the benefit of doing the job with the flexibility. Right now, I have a thought. After that talk, after that discussion, probably you want to check about NASA, about the astronauts, about their schedule, their lunch or dinner schedule, whatever, how often, every 5 hours they eat, whatever. Otherwise, NASA is violating laws too. Okay, taxes. NASA might go Texas laws, right? Oh, JPL.
Right.
You check about JPL. If JPL workers, those operators, they do the 5-hour laws too.
Right. Well, you know, the big issue is these laws apply to non-exempt employees. So if you're exempt and you're a salaried employee, then it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
If you are in a union, there are prison guards that work for the state of California who will work 12-hour shifts, no lunch, no break. They can do that because they have a collective bargaining agreement. So unions are exempt, exempt employees are exempt. It's the non-exempt employees that we're protecting. And the issue that I have is nobody has ever complained about
Are you operating
lunches.
a conveyor lines? Like automated lines?
We do have some automated lines, and normally what we would do is we would shut the factory down at 11 o'clock, and everybody would eat their lunch, and they would eat their lunch
Which
together.
is good. Okay,
Which
very
is
good.
great.
Okay.
Like a lot of camaraderie. People became friends.
Okay, very good. Okay. And to Vincent, in your story, in your case, why you're sued, what's your argument? I mean, what's your ground of argument, do you feel?
Well, we're in the same situation. So we have employees that we allowed complete flexibility with their lunches. We have employees that start at 5, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And with that 5-hour rule, they'd have to start their lunch at 10:30 in the morning. And they don't want to take their lunch at 10:30 in the morning. They want to take their lunch at lunchtime.
All right.
And they want to take their lunch with other employees or friends who come in perhaps later. The other situation we were in was we had employees that came to us and they said, we would like, instead of 2 10-minute breaks, we would like one longer 20-minute break.
All right.
Can we take a 20-minute break in the morning and then take our lunch in the afternoon? It splits up the day, gives us more time to, text on our phones, catch up with our friends, and it was. Obviously, that's against the law. We can't allow them to do that.
Do you have employees who are willing to testify that I don't want to eat lunch at 10:30?
We had over 100 letters that were sent to the state from our employees stating we're not happy with this.
Regardless, I start taping 10:30, right? By 10:30, I'm kind of all my cells, every single cell of my whole body is kind of motivated to a point that I can sit here, start chatting, right? And this moment, anybody says, Jack, I got a beautiful lunch for you. No matter how beautiful, I just wouldn't eat. I reject. My stomach doesn't take food at 10:30. So anybody who are willing to testify, please.
Even if it was a pizza from Vince's place?
No, of course. Maybe 10:30 p.m. I can take two. I can take two. All right. So this is important. And they can say we choose to do so. We requested to do so. How about that?
Well, we did. We had employees, our defense attorneys came in, they interviewed a number of our employees, and our employees were happy with the flexibility of their schedule. They wanted that flexibility. The problem is that California legislators don't want employees to have and workers to have flexibility. They want things done their way. And so they force everybody into this tight little box, even though in our economy, work has changed so much and jobs have changed so much. You can work from home, you can work at work,
yes.
You can, so many different ways. There needs to be more flexibility to allow companies to be successful.
Absolutely.
And to give people the freedom to do
Go
what they
check
want.
Google offices in Santa Monica. Go check their schedule.
Google's in a giant PAGA lawsuit right now. They figure $3.8 billion.
Oh, they are under fire.
Confidentiality agreements.
Oh my God, speaking of the devil, they're under fire already.
Yes.
All right. Okay, now, this reminds me of something. I came from China. In China, the best food, I don't know how you call it, the best food is Peking duck, the roasted duck. You know how the ducks are fed? They're in a farm, all right? Every time at 10:30, there goes the bell. Ding, 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 goes the bell. And then there goes a feeder that plugs in the crack, one push, the liquid food pressed down into the duck. All right, that's the way, because the law says 10:30, you eat. That's it. That's how ducks are fed. So that reminds me of that. I don't know how.
I think we're all a bunch of ducks now, it sounds like.
You sound like a bunch of ducks to me, because you're not feeding your ducks that way. So
Right.
you're violating the duck laws.
Right.
Right.
In California, everybody knows that employees want flexibility. They want to be able to work the schedules the way that they want. They want certain days off and be able to go see their kids'
Yes.
performances. So I had employees who would ask, "Can I take a short lunch because I want to get all my hours in and still make it for my..."
In a compact way.
Right. Right. That's not allowed by California law. So that's problematic.
Okay, now let's go to the law side, to Tom. What do you think the law is protecting?
It's just set up for the attorneys. It's traps. And I don't believe a lot of our legislators even understand these laws, and that's a big problem. And the other issue is the state, because we ended up settling with the state, and we went to the state. We asked them for their help, and I feel and I call it a criminal offense because we were treated like criminals. You don't pay $1 million for taking late
because
lunches.
just now when he mentioned about his number of $3 million to fight to court if we will win,
Right.
if we wanted to win something that cost them that much, right? Now that looks into the only way out, and the only way out cost them $3 million. I noticed that the sad look on his face. $3 million could be a lifetime money.
Sure.
Could be lots of devastating life.
And who walks away with the money? It's the attorneys in Beverly Hills. It's not the Vince Passaninis of the
And
world.
it's not even the plaintiff.
No, not
Am
even
I
the
right?
plaintiff.
No.
So what happens, and we ended up having to settle because essentially it's our attorney calls it legal extortion. You're forced into a position where it's less expensive to settle than to try and fight in court, and
Exactly.
and you have that risk of I potentially could lose. So we ended up having to settle for $300,000. Now the way PAGA is set up, a third of that money goes to the prosecuting attorney. So in our case, the attorney, for doing very little, received $100,000 almost.
And then the plaintiffs do not even get anything. Why would they get into it? They play like somebody's puppy.
Well, they get the plaintiffs gets a small amount, but it's a class action lawsuit. So every employee that we had for 4 years was able to partake in this class action lawsuit. So a portion goes to the state, according to PLAGA. In this case, only $10,000. The state only got $10,000. So the state doesn't even benefit from this law.
All right.
The remainder goes to for various fees and little things, but then the bulk of it goes really to the group of employees.
All right. My dear friends, my lovely audience, today we're talking about California. California is being hurt and badly hurt. California economy is being badly hurt because our business owners are being badly hurt. By what? By ourselves. Yeah. If it is a force majeure or whatever, if the Mother Nature Act or something, we cry nothing but cry. But this one, we don't even know how to cry. Who to cry to, right? So let's take a very, very short moment now. When we come back, we need to find a solution, right? Good. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, dear fellow Californians, my dear fellow Americans, welcome back to the discussion about California. California has many laws. I would say most of them do not make sense. At least one thing, the third bathroom law doesn't make sense to me, right? Okay. Of the laws, we have an organization called California Citizen Against the Law Abuse, CALA. And now we have people like Tom, like Vincent, and also have the other guy, Fred who? Anyway, lots of friends who are business owners, the wounded business owners here on the show, talking about California culture, business culture, California business climate. By that, I consulted. There is one guy named Chuck Vadur, this guy, who was the assemblyman for 70th District of California previously, and later they decided to move to Texas, and he chairs the Texas Committee for Public Policy, or Public Foundation, Policy Foundation, whatever. He compared one by one, California and Texas, on all the categories. We are 100% losers. We lost everything, right? So that's his comparison. And you may consult, the keyword is Chuck Vadur, right? So you will find out yourself. Okay, back to the point, Tom. 240 years ago, we did not have a country. Right? We were under the British Empire, right? We were slaves, right? We started to have a country because we united ourselves, right? And we get our country established. So now it is now to a point, I'm thinking, can you guys put yourself together, right, to form a union or some kind of firm to fight back? Instead of single-handedly, you handle your case, all together.
That's exactly what.
Do something.
That's
please.
Exactly what I've done. I started up an organization called CABIA, the California Business and Industrial Alliance. We're reaching out to every business owner, every business in the state of California. Doesn't matter what type of industry you're in. We want to get one voice so we can change the labor laws, the PAGA laws, and we can work on workers' compensation reform. That's where our real two biggest issues are. And just to give you an idea of how sick some of these trial lawyers are, the one that sued us in Beverly Hills is also sued the Children's Home of Southern California for not taking their lunch periods on time. So what attorney could sue the Children's Home of Southern California over this? As we're getting more,
they're professionals.
It's
professional money makers, right?
Is what it is.
Very good. And how many members do you have so far?
Right now we have about 30, and we're hoping we get, 4,000 or 5,000. Right now we know that
Yeah, let's do it.
there's over 6,000 companies that have been sued in the last year alone, and the same incident that we've been sued for. And it's every kind of company you can think of.
I would say that when this number gets big enough, you can even protest it.
Oh, we plan on doing it.
You can even put up a strike.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Apply your freedom of expression, right? And all your 6,000 business owners, choose a day or a week as a bargaining chip, go on strike.
Yeah, a lot of business owners have already said that. Hey, let's do something. Let's do something drastic. The law has been in place since 2004, and the state hasn't even been keeping track of it for 12 years. They never even kept track of it. Now they're starting to track it because they know a lot of people are upset and they're frustrated. And what
How do you approach those business owners being hit?
Right now, we've just recently, we had to pay for it. We got a list from the state. We're reaching out to people. Kayla, thank you, Marianne. Very, very nice. Got me in touch with not only yourself, but with Vincent also. So, it's just a matter of reaching out to, assemblymen, assembly members, senators, anybody that will listen. That's what we're trying to do. We need to stand up, one voice, change the law. The state has no right to tell somebody when they need to take their lunch or when they need to take a break. They have no right to tell someone like Vince how to run their business.
Unless you're doing the duck feeding.
Unless you're doing that, and is that what they want?
Well, Jack, you made a point earlier that there's so many regulations in California now, and there's so many, they can't even enforce them all. And so what happens is a lot of business owners, they don't even realize that some of these laws are on the books.
They don't even know the laws.
Right, and until they receive that letter from the attorney, they don't realize that they're at risk. So it's so important that we get this information out so that business owners understand the risks that they face and can join organizations like ours.
Like Tom says, 1,039 pages. Who the hell is going to remember that much?
Right.
Yeah. And I'll just give you one example. I have to give you one example of one of those laws. If you're in the film industry and you are working past midnight, you must provide that employee a hot meal. If they're not in the film industry and they work past midnight, say you work at Walmart's or you work at a gas station, a 7-Eleven, they don't get a hot meal.
So why people in the film industry are so special?
I don't know. Why are the unions so special? That they have the collective bargaining agreements, the 1,039 book doesn't even apply to them.
Or maybe, you name it, don't call for it. So if you call for it, and they might create another law, say everybody, including Walmart workers.
Right.
Yeah, they all get a hot meal at midnight.
The problem is the minority is running the majority. You've got a bunch of disgruntled employees.
His point counts.
Right.
Because a business owner, however smart they are, however equipped they are, suppose even they can lower it up themselves, they can never know this much, 100%.
I'll give you one more rule. Is your restroom? It felt a little cool in there. It can't be below 68 degrees. If it is, that's a labor law violation.
Ah, I see.
Have you ever heard of such a thing?
I haven't heard it.
I've never heard of such a thing.
I didn't even know that.
Below 68, somebody dies?
Below 68, you'll get a penalty. It'll be a fine, and it adds up.
I go 62 all the time, even in my car. Even in my car, I go 62.
Not your employees.
Oh, I'll check. Probably I'll check after this show. So, do you think the way to organize yourself is only solution? Do you believe that?
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question.
Tom and I were talking about organize the business owners, right? To voice out as one.
Right.
Do you think that's only solution?
Well, it's one of the solutions, but it's not the only solution. I think there just needs to be more information out there about how these laws affect employees. In fact, employees themselves need to be more educated about what their rights are. I think if more employees thought about it, they'd realize that they're just being treated like ducks, and they're not being given the freedom to do what they want. when these laws come down, my employees now, they're more upset at me than ever because I'm enforcing these laws. And when they say, well, why can't I take my break at this time? Why can't I combine my breaks? Why can't I take a short lunch and go, go see my son play ball? I say, well, it's because
it's
of
the
California
law.
regulations.
It's the law.
That's right.
I'm forced to do so, right?
It is ruining good companies, and it's ruining their culture. It's ruining it. Flexibility is completely gone at Timely. And we got a lot of people that are upset about it, just like Vince.
The best people to understand what's in their best interest are those people themselves. So business owners and employees should be allowed to decide amongst themselves what is the best situation for them. Why these people in California and in Sacramento, they don't know what happens in my business or how we work or when we start, and for them to just put an arbitrary law on the books.
Yeah, like Tom just said, lots of legislatures themselves, they do not even know what they're talking about.
No. They don't understand the law, and they need to get educated. They need to understand the law.
Yeah.
And that's why we formed an organization. And what we're doing, Cabia, is going to educate.
Suppose if you go to knock on the door and tell them a story about duck feeding, they will agree with you. There's only the reason they don't agree with you because they never heard that story about duck feeding.
Well, that's a great story, but we've been up to Sacramento, and when we complained about some of these laws, the assemblyman we saw told us, well, if you don't like it here, maybe you should move to another country.
See, that's the insult.
It is an insult. Absolutely.
That's an insult. They deserve a slam on the face.
When we went to the state and we fought our case and we explained everything to them, the attorney at the state actually told us, why do you have a flexible schedule anyway? You shouldn't have that. Really? Then you've never obviously dealt in any kind of real life work situation.
Why should you establish a business, do business?
Yeah, and then there was a little bit more conversation, and she said, I guess that's what you get for being a good employer.
All right.
So no support whatsoever.
Oh my God. My dear friend, my dear audiences, ladies and gentlemen, things are gone so bad, and it's much worse than I thought. I never thought below 68 could be a crime. Oh, by the way, when we come back, give us some of the more crazy examples. Okay. Well, I need an education myself, right? Good. All right, we'll be right back today with my friend Vincent and Tom. We're having, let's say, a sweet and sour soup right now. Okay, stay with us. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience, and ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans, fellow Californians. Welcome back to the show. As a matter of fact, it's a discussion about California work comp laws. Work comp, a beautiful name for the good purpose, yet it goes out till today, the way we see, it protects, what does it protect? I don't know.
It's protecting the worst of the worst, and it's funneling money.
I can't even find out in an object.
And it's funneling money to the attorneys. We actually had an employee. Vincent just talked about one, $70,000. It's funny you mentioned that, and I have to bring it up. We had one just settle, same exact amount, $70,000. His problem was, Jack, he had too much gas.
Oh, he had too much gas.
He was burping a lot at work, and because of the burping, they found out that he had some intestinal type issues, and a lot of that was created by work and the stress and the pressures of work, which again led to sexual dysfunction. And this person ended up getting $70,000
for gas.
For gas. If you asked my wife if I got paid for gas, I'd be a billionaire.
You run your own gas company. People don't realize they think that doesn't affect them. Tom had to pay for that. Well, Tom didn't have to pay for that. What happens is, Tom has to pay these settlements, and then he also has probably a lot of money that he pays out in workers' comp premiums. The same way, I pay almost $200,000 a year in workers' comp premiums. And so what happens is our prices are higher because we have to be able to charge, we have to be able to pay for those expenses.
Yeah.
So everyone in California is paying
do
higher.
you have work comp insurance to cover yourself?
Absolutely.
You do, right?
By law, you have to
But the rates are so high.
I know, but for that, you mentioned about $3 million to win the case. Though, would that insurance stretch to that amount to cover you?
Well, for wage and hour,
no insurance.
There's no insurance you can get insurance for your defense to cover a small portion, but the actual penalties there's no insurance for.
Yeah. And even the insurance for the defense is very costly. And
somebody might see some business opportunities here to create the work comp insurance to cover those lawsuits.
Well, there used to be insurance for it, but the risk is so great now that no insurance company will take it on.
Nobody gets it is not affordable.
What people have to understand, Jack, is this: if it comes to a PAGA lawsuit, wage and hour, or a workers' comp claim, we are guilty until proven guilty. Every single case is won and settled.
Exactly.
There's not one case where they say, oh, this is false and this is bogus.
Exactly.
You know what? We appreciate your flexible schedule. You're a good man. Keep it up. No, it's not like that. Everybody's guilty.
I start to understand a little better now. At a time when a bag of gas can sell for $70,000, nobody would afford for a work comp case covering your complaint, right?
Right.
And yours too.
Yeah.
So, and there's another thought. I always think about making it fair. All right. So now, let's play fair. You have your ground, I have my ground. Okay, let's do it. Okay, now, you protect yourself, I protect myself. Okay, now, you think I violated whatsoever? You go ahead and file a lawsuit against me, right? If I lose, I end up paying your costs. How about that?
That's a great way of doing it.
If you lose, I'm sorry, you lose.
Right.
How about that? That will stop.
I agree.
The eager of the creation of the laws from the root point. And number two, when you do the organization like this, right, to lobby them to change, right? And then you probably can do some voting records or bill records to get a reputation to each of the single names. And this guy voting on this, on that, on this, on that, those are public information. Those are available everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
So to handpick who are related to the crazy laws, right? Get that advertised, come to me, I'll advertise it for you.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we're gathering a lot of that data right now. We're in the process of it, and we're gonna let everybody know about it, because that, again, other countries, Canada, for instance, and you would say Canada is a little bit more forward, similar to California, on their OSHA violation. If somebody is at fault in the accident, they're to blame. Here, they're not. Here, if I go and I ram my forklift through your front door and I injure myself, you're still at fault.
That's your owner's problem.
Right, but in Canada, it would be that person's fault.
All right, we're good. All right, anyway, whoever's fault, forget the whole thing. Let's make the owner, loser pay.
I agree.
Make a loser pay. Yeah. And then that stops the crying of the whole industry, right? If you think you will be a winner, go ahead. Right? So, in other words, everybody before filing should think about it. Instead of your guy waiting for 6 months already, all of a sudden thought about his gas or whatever. Okay, gas is your story. Whatsoever, right? Make a loser pay. Number two, to check from the very top, from the legislature point of view, from that level, to kill those laws, to overturn those laws.
I agree.
And number three, use your organization to handpick each of the legislators, go back to their records, okay, and to get their list of names published, or something like that. We worked for fair for better California, right? So do you think that will work?
It's the labor laws. They're too complicated. They're too cumbersome. Nobody understands it. Even people that are passing some of the new laws don't understand it. They make rules for the one-offs, and it affects all of the good employers, and it needs to stop.
Vincent says it just now. No business owners would know every law.
No.
Right?
Everybody's probably some form of violation.
Yeah. And you mentioned the 1,039 pages.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a lot. That sounds like going back to school.
Absolutely.
139 pages, a lot of books.
Yeah.
That's a lot of books to read.
Yeah.
Right?
You need to have a full-time attorney.
Yeah.
You know, our attorney fees have went up more because you have to call them up and say, what do I do on this? What do I do on that?
My dear audience, we welcome you to come comment. Send your comment to tellmydj@gmail.com. Tellmydj, all together one word, @gmail.com.
And have them join Cabia.
Yeah. And I'll put the information of this Cabia on top of the screen so that you know there's an organization. If you belong to that category, join the party. There's going to be lots of fun, right? One thing for sure, either you take it, either you capitulate, you obey, well, you be servile, say this, do whatever they want you to do, or you fight. The way to fight, to win the war, is one word: unite.
I agree.
You agree with me?
Absolutely.
Okay. You want to shake hands with me?
Thank you so
Deal?
much, Jack. It's
Deal?
a deal.
Deal. All right.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Jack.
He's in. Everybody's in.
Everybody's in.
All right. Write to me, tellmydj@gmail.com. We'll take your opinion and we will discuss it next show. Stay with us. And we see you again until next time.